So right out the gate, I think it is behoove of us to acknowledge that things are really tense right now. Wouldn't you say so, James?
Yes, I think tense is a perfect word for what's happening in the world right now, Kevin.
I want to be able to provide some good news. I want to be able to provide some good news for a little while and then eventually sell this to CBS All Access.
I was going to say, you want to be the John Krasinski of the podcast world. I mean, don't get me wrong. I would sell out in a heartbeat also. So I don't want to say I'm better than John Krasinski because I'm not.
I'll say at the top of the gate, I mean, TroyTheHitchMailbox@gmail.com. If you happen to work for CBS All Access and would like our content forever, pay us. Let's keep the topic, because people are tense right now. There is some good news, and that is Zack Snyder is finally releasing the Zack Snyder cut of Justice League.
We can all breathe a little bit easier tonight.
I know.
Knowing
like, especially with how tense things were on social media about the want for this Snyder cut. Now we know if, like, you're upset about certain things in the world, it takes precisely 2.5 years and HBO has to do it for you. But at the very least, like, we understand that things are pretty tense right now. And we're feeling that same way, folks. And as such, James and I are going to go cross country because we want to get away. Don't worry, we're still going to be recognizing social distancing on our cross country trip. Sure, we'll be in the same car, but James will be driving and I'll be in the trunk. And while we go across the country, me a bit cramped, but overall in a better mood, we will be taking some pit stops here and there. We will be looking at an amalgam of trailers that came out over the course of the past couple of weeks. And that includes Da 5 Bloods. That includes Tenet. That includes Antebellum. And who can forget, arguably the biggest film event of 2020, Unhinged, starring Russell Crowe. All that and more coming at you in just a second after this theme song.
You can't haul your stuff without a trailer hitch. Trailer hitch.
Future releases by the movie trailers. We're trailer hits. This movie might totally suck, but the whiskey sure is going down fine. Yeah, we're trailer hits.
Academy Award-winning Russell Crowe, Kevin.
I should have put respect on the name. Yes, yeah. Academy Award-winning Russell Crowe is going to be coming up this episode. And also a woman that looks a lot like Jennifer Connelly, but who I found out through research is not Jennifer Connelly.
She does look like Jennifer Connelly, you're right.
Fucking threw me for a loop, man. But
good call.
What is this episode? What are we doing here? Who are you? We're answering all those right now. Hi, this is Trailer Hitch. I'm Kevin.
Hi, this is My Favorite Murder. I'm James.
Okay, well, this is going to be a really wild podcast. So Trailer Hitch is a podcast where we rate and review movie trailers. We rate them on a scale of need to see more, or never need to see. If James and I both give something a need to see rating, we celebrate. And then we go see the movie, report back to you guys in a segment called Trailer and the Review, in which we review the film in retrospect and talk about the film writ large as well. Now, obviously, yes, of course, going and seeing the film just means that there's a far shorter walk. Instead of a theater, it's our couches and we're streaming stuff. But we are still looking at things from the perspective of, would this make us want to pay money to see it, ideally on opening weekend?
Correct.
For this episode, we have a lot to cover. And normally James and I like to dissect. We like to meander. God damn it, we like to throw some yucks in every once in a while. That's not something we're going to have the time to do because we have a total of 9 trailers to talk to you guys about. And as such, we're going to be going cross-country. Cross-country is where James and I have a bunch of trailers to talk about, and we cap ourselves time-wise. We're giving ourselves 5 minutes to talk about each trailer today.
No more.
Now, ideally, we want to keep ourselves shorter, keep ourselves more abridged. Otherwise, a timer's going to go off and we're going to feel real bummed about it. So today, we are going to get through these 9 trailers in 40 minutes. Now, if you just did some quick math, 9 times 5, you probably think we may have made a mistake. The unfortunate truth is we did not. We are only giving ourselves 40 minutes to talk about these 9 trailers. This incentivizes us to keep our thoughts more abridged, and then whatever leftover time is going to go to that last trailer. We will have 40 minutes to go through everything. Now, this last trailer that we're putting all of our bonus time into is going to be Antebellum. Now, if you're familiar with the segment, you'll be like, this sounds familiar. There have been other cross countries where the last trailer's Antebellum, and we figured, you know what? Let's just make it a thing. We're always going to be going to the direction of Antebellum on a cross country trip.
If there's an Antebellum trailer.
If there is an Antebellum trailer. But, I mean, goddamn, man, like 3 for 3. Like, there always seems to be one. So, until anything changes, until the movie comes out, I guess, we have this constant in our life. And right now, we'd like to kind of focus on the constants. We're going to need some incentive, because just saying we're going to try and hit 5 minutes, James and I have lied before. And so, what's actually keeping us from doing?
How dare you? How dare you accuse me of lying?
I don't know, man. Like, I've definitely said I'd see things that I didn't see. What's incentivizing us? Well, if James and I miss on our target time, if James and I get to the end of 40 minutes and we don't get to Antebellum, we don't finish the review in time, James and I are going to punish ourselves. We are going to watch a movie that we have both given a never need to see to. So if you are looking at our past episodes and you're like, you guys said at the top you only watch stuff you like. Why did you watch Cats and A Christmas Prince 3, The Royal Baby? Welcome. Cross country is why. We're going to do our best because ideally we don't want to watch another movie like that. But if we fuck up, something's waiting around the corner, and it's probably not going to be great based on our previous experience with these.
That's right.
Yes, so we may have 4 minutes to talk about Antebellum. We could also have 10 seconds, but we're going to do our goddamnedest, and James is getting the timer ready as we speak, and we're going to start jumping into these. And so just so you guys know, I'll always start by giving you the title. I'll give you a little mini description of what we just watched, and then James and I will discuss for a little bit, and we'll try to keep it quick. James, are you ready?
I'm ready. All
right, James, you're ready? Yeah. I'm ready. Hit me with it whenever.
Defy Bloods with 5 minutes in 3, 2, 1, go.
Defy Bloods, a group of Black Vietnam vets head back to the country that represents their formative years and their lifelong trauma to find gold that they buried when they were soldiers. All right, that's what we got. I'm just going to say out the gate, holy fuck, I love this trailer. James, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, for specific reasons we will get into now, but overall, this was a very effective trailer, and I was immensely impressed with it. Yeah.
I love how this starts. It starts with Hanoi Hannah, who was a real figure in Vietnam, broadcasting a message to demoralize U.S. troops. And in this message at the beginning, it's specifically to Black soldiers, using pretty real charges of racism against the U.S. And then this is immediately segues into a Vietnam-themed party in the present. And it's full-on sponsored by Budweiser, and it's showing how the very real horror of the war and what the Vietnamese soldiers were doing to demoralize the U.S. has now been fetishized and commodified in some way. And immediately I was hooked. From then on, man, like, the editing in this trailer is so goddamn good because it uses still images to punctuate importance. It uses archival footage to root the anguish of Vietnam in reality. And there's also smooth digital for the present day sequences and then really grainy film for the flashback Vietnam sequences. And I think it's just all mixed so effectively.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. As you said, the archival footage was probably one of the highlights for me. And archival footage can have a tendency to feel like, oh, you're not showing me as much from your movie. You're relying on archival footage and skimping me on actual film footage. I did not feel that way with this trailer. It fit so perfectly and seamlessly with the story that was being told, like the stuff that they actually shot, that it was seamless. The song, The Time Has Come Today, what a perfect song, not only for subject matter and time period, but the pace of the song had, like, Time Has Come Today.
It's so dynamic.
It's so dynamic. And Time Has Come Today has like 3 separate like tempos in it, or 3 separate chunks and parts, and each part of those chunks play into the editing style of the trailer really well. Like, it starts pretty slow and quiet, then it's the main part of the song, and it's it goes at a clip, but it's like engaging and interesting. It ends really slow, methodic, with like a clock sound effect, and it really you feel that slow down at the end too. The song and the archival footage drove this mother home. Like, it was amazing. Yeah.
Or when a trailer only uses one song, usually it's to a detriment, but like you're right, this is such a dynamic song. The song's great too, but I think it also highlights what we have in the beginning of the trailer involving the race commentary in the beginning. So to kind of quote another track from the era, the song remains the same. You know, like the journey that these characters are going through, even if they find catharsis, even if they find something to enrich in themselves by going back to Vietnam, it's not going to change the realities of the situations that brought them there and the situations of the present. I really love this trailer because we usually associate atmospheric trailers with like really broody stuff with like children's choirs doing covers of songs. And bear in mind, I've liked a lot of those trailers. But what was great about this was the atmosphere was incredibly entertaining and it had style, but with so much purpose behind it.
Yeah.
And I also want to shout out, it doesn't really go into individual character arcs between all of the men, but it shows what bonds them. Even if we don't understand their specific struggles, we do understand their collective struggles. And because it's an ensemble piece, I've just thought this was a masterclass in trailer editing.
Totally agree. It focuses on the ensemble and them as a group, and it doesn't really need to dive into character arcs at this time in the trailer. Stop! 1 second.
Oh my god. Well, we have to rate it. So need to see, clearly.
Need to see for me as well. Double need to see.
Hey!
Hey! Clink, clink, Kevin.
All right, so we have 1 second.
Should we take the second away since we didn't do the review yet?
I guess just to be fair, yes.
So we'll go zero. We'll go zero.
We'll go zero. We'll go zero on it. We're not giving ourselves a goddamn thing. But yes, you should absolutely go see that trailer. But should you see The Old Guard? That's what we're about to find out. The Old Guard, a group of commandos who can't die, that must be exhausting, are being hunted for their genetic code. I did feel like the concept of this feels like when you play cops and robbers as a kid, and Charlize Theron's group of mercenaries are the kids who are like, you didn't get me, even though you absolutely got them. From the perspective of story, I definitely feel like there was a lot to be desired. I think especially with the action, there was a lot to be desired. They do the thing where the action, for the most part, at least in this trailer, is shot in really low light. So it's kind of hard to see the specific movements and flows, which, I mean, Charlize Theron can fucking do it. She's a great action star. Why are you short shrifting me on this, bud? And additionally, I'm fine with that as long as the backgrounds are really dynamic, but it's usually like, no, we're just going to blast one source of light at a wall and it's kind of bland. And I'm like, oh, like that's not that fun to watch. And I also just feel like the concept could have played in a little bit more with the action too, because if you think about it, if they can't die, there's no stakes for them. So they definitely present these characters as there's these ultra tough mercenaries who have mastered all these forms of combat because they've perceivably been around for centuries. And I'm like, man, by like the 2nd century, why would you give a shit anymore? Like it's not like you can die. So just like, oh yeah, I don't have to really learn how to shoot. Or to just kind of play into it, there is something right at the end where a character takes a bullet for someone else, which I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting. And I feel like if the trailer leaned into stuff like that more, I would have been more engaged. But alas. But how about you, James?
Well, here's the thing about that. I'm going to address that specific part initially. We know they can't die. That's pretty established very well in the trailer. Effectively, I thought, with the reveal of them all getting mowed down and then getting back up. I thought that was a super effective moment. The moment at the end that you're talking about when she takes a bullet for Charlize Theron, the question you should be asking yourself, Kevin, is why is she taking a bullet for Charlize Theron?
I think that's actually something that I really enjoyed about the trailer is the woman who takes the bullet for Theron is basically the Ellen Page character. And of course, the Ellen Page character refers to
Inception.
Yeah, Inception, when Ellen Page has to be the one that gets all the exposition dumped on her. So the Ellen Page character in this at the end takes a bullet. And so, yes, obviously, it doesn't really matter. Charlize Theron can just get shot, but she is taking the bullet more in a symbolic way of, I'm connected to you, I'm completely committed to this, so I will take the bullet.
See, that's one way to think about it. I posit that, because you were also giving a critique that, there might not be as much stakes in this movie.
Right.
If she is taking a bullet for the leader of this group, hey, maybe Charlize Theron loses her special ability at some point in this movie.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
And I'm like, oh, okay, now I'm interested. I'm seeing people like diving in front of her who we know can't die at the beginning. Like, I thought that was really interesting.
And bear in mind, it's one of those things where diving to take a bullet for Charlize Theron. Well, I mean, like, initially I didn't question that because anyone would dive to take a bullet for Charlize Theron. We're only human.
That's right. Last thing I was going to say, though, I remember watching the Atomic Blonde trailer, and I love watching Charlize Theron kick ass. I really do. But something kept me from seeing that movie. It wasn't the cinematography. The cinematography was good in that. Like you said, maybe it's a little lacking in this one. But the thing that kept me from seeing that movie, I say, is the wildly entertaining premise like this one. I think this one, the premise really was interesting to me. And despite it being dark, I really enjoyed this.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, the only other thing I'll say, my brother, he has a running bit where he talks about how in action movies they always try to double cross like the agent who is the fucking best agent in every action movie. It's not like they're trying to kill Doug in accounting. Like, they're trying to kill the top assassin, and then they're always surprised when the top assassin kills all of them. And this premise right now just feels like the most extreme version of that, where it's like, they literally can't die. Just, like, send an invite and be like, we have a mission for you, mercenaries. Do us a favor and stay in this room. Oh.
That is the time, Kevin.
All right, we'll keep it running. We still have to rate it. I'm at a never need to see for this.
I'm at a need to see for this. I thought this was awesome. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, man. All right, how much time do we have to
add? 6 seconds.
Okay, that's not too bad.
It's not too bad. So we're at -6 right now.
Man, I feel like we got to get positive, man, because otherwise I'm gonna start feeling unhinged. Which, speaking of, James, it's time we get unhinged. Unhinged. In an utter stretch for the actor, Russell Crowe plays an angry man in a pickup truck who doesn't take kindly to a honking station wagon, and he's willing to take his anger to extreme and unintentionally hilarious heights. James, what did you think of Unhinged?
Well, it's falling down in cars.
It's a lazier Michael Douglas.
I was literally going to ask you what makes him lazier, Kevin. It's like, I answered that. He's in a car. He's not getting out of his car.
He's
not walking around. He's not. Instead of going into the fast food restaurant, he goes through the drive-thru. So yeah, there's a lot to unpack in this trailer. It's hard because you definitely don't like the mom. Look, I know people have bad days, and on those bad days, maybe they're just not in the mood to say sorry for slight rude things that they do.
Indiscretions, of course.
And it happens. You don't always happen to cross paths with a complete psychopath during those moments. But I've always been the person to, I guess, apologize. Maybe that's the does this movie take place like not in the Midwest?
I would have to. Oh, of course it doesn't. It can't take place there. It can't take place in Canada. It's like we're clearly dealing with a tougher type of people.
Yeah.
But I think that's a good note, though, is just like in that interaction. I think if he had been trying to talk to her and she was like doing everything in her power to just like keep your eyes forward, don't talk to him, don't say anything, and maybe he'll go away, and that's what sets him off, I think then maybe we could have been in business. But like, this is just taking it to such goofy heights that it can't find that nuance.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's Oscar winner Russell Crowe.
True. Respect on the name.
Look, to be fair, he is giving this 100%. I don't want to take anything away from his performance here because he's going for it. And there is some entertainment value that I had with this trailer. I was entertained as you know, his character from Gladiator would be glad to hear. For those who don't know, are you not entertained? I wasn't.
God, we're being timed, James, please.
That's all I have.
Oh, okay, cool. There is a lot to unpack here. It really is something you got to see for yourself because, like, it's a trailer that, we're playing this as, like, a tense kind of thriller, and then at the end, a truck just absolutely wrecks the shit of a police cruiser.
Like it was made of aluminum.
Yeah. These are strange cases because, like, this movie doesn't look like I'm going to enjoy it, but I really do want to get drunk and watch it. And so it is one of those, like, it could go either way, but I mean, like, I'll go with my heart and, like, the honest answer, which is never need to see it, but for real, watch this trailer.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's exactly what I was gonna say as well. Never need to see it, but this trailer was really fun to watch. So
yes, and a ton.
Our first under time review coming in at 4 minutes and 4 seconds.
Ooh, okay, so that is... Oh, God, wait. 4 minutes and 4 seconds, so that's 56.
56 seconds to add to Antebellum.
Bring us up to a whopping 50 seconds.
I mean, I know from past experience that we shouldn't get too excited.
Well, I feel like what it is we just can't get too cocky, man, because there have been times where we're like, oh, we have a full 4 minutes to talk about it. We'll crush it. And then we fucking just completely whiff. So, if anything, let's not give ourselves too much time.
Yeah.
But we'll see, because there may be a lot to talk about with this next trailer. There may be nothing to talk about with this next trailer. Will this make us transcend? Let's find out.
And okay, Kevin, here we go. We're about to transcend in 3, 2, 1, go.
The Transcendence. Honestly, your guess is as good as mine. James, what is this about?
Okay, all right. I was literally I was gonna start, Kevin, and I was gonna say, Kevin, what is this about? And that's because I watched this twice and I have no idea.
My best guess is it's a guy who looks like he's out of an Instagram ad, is tasked by a vested gentleman with a gun to infiltrate a cult. But for real, I mean, anyone's guess is as good as mine.
Dude, are you kidding me? That was way more in depth than I ever thought anyone could have got out of this trailer. I was so...
What you were missing, James, was the third time watching it.
Of course.
Yeah, that was really what it was. Now, bear in mind, there is voiceover running through this, and I couldn't tell you a goddamn thing it says because it's so arrhythmic and so atonal. And not only is there voiceover, but someone is speaking off camera during it. So it's just so hard to follow, and I just don't care. You know?
What Kevin's getting at, and he, in a less prolific way, is this was boring AF.
Yes, yes.
And like, look, stuff happens in it. It's not visually the most uninteresting thing I've ever seen, but the voiceover sucks so much energy out of this masterpiece.
Well, yeah.
my brain was so numb watching it. I'm just like, it ended the first time and I'm like, I retained nothing from that. Nothing. I don't know what that movie is about. I think it's probably in there somewhere, but I was so distracted by how bored I was.
It's trying to mesh like two different styles, which is like the moody kind of like Babadook Hereditary style horror, but then also like Grindhouse too, because like the sound effects are so clunky and goofy. In the middle of this chaotic montage where there's like violence and people getting shot and stuff, it just cuts to a cat that goes, hiss. And then it goes back to violence. And you're like, well, what the fuck's the cat about? Does the cat have a gun? But it doesn't matter because the voiceover is like, and then they found us in the woods. And I'm like, go back to the cat. I want to know more about the cat. Boy, fuck. The editing is so arrhythmic, and it's trying to like make the trailer feel hypnotic, and it just puts you at like 6 arms lengths away, which is good. Thank you. It is, we are doing social distancing, so I appreciate the fact that you're keeping away from me, trailer. But at the same time, fuck, dude, this is like a really hard never need to see.
Yeah, I mean, look, in all honesty, the editing might be good in this trailer. I wouldn't know, though, because my brain was just completely glossed over the whole time. So
I don't blame you.
Never need to see it for me. And
Tom!
Kevin, that took us 3 minutes and 45 seconds.
Oh my God. Okay.
So, 1 minute and 15, I believe.
Yeah, 75 seconds, man.
Not too shabby. Well, we'll never have to talk about that movie ever again unless we fail at today's cross country.
I'm going to come out and say it. I don't think that's going to happen, man, because I'm feeling really good. We got the momentum on our side. You could say I'm like a force of nature, couldn't you? I'm just going for the most terrible baseline pun for all of these, and I'm not going to stop until you giggle at one.
All right, ready?
Ah, shit, now I have to actually try. Unlike the Transcendence,
this is a force to be reckoned with in 3, 2, 1, Go.
Force of nature. Well, a cop fails to escort a drunk Mel Gibson out of a building even though a hurricane is outside. Again, a lot of actors stretching this episode. A group of bad guys try to access $55 million that's in the basement of the apartment complex for some goddamn reason. Good thing Mel Gibson has a gun, am I right? So if you're wondering whether direct-to-DVD action movies still exist in the streaming era, the answer is a hearty, apparently. What did you think, James?
Yeah. So Kevin sent me this trailer in an email, and he basically said a bunch of disgraced actors got together with a bunch of guns. And I said, yeah, that makes sense. Mel Gibson with all of his, xenophobia, right?
Mm-hmm.
We got Emil Hirsch with all of
Choking
his
people.
choking women and
Yep.
stuff like that. And then Kate Bosworth, who has the audacity to be a woman over 35 in Hollywood. Like, how dare she?
Oh, God.
Having said that, that was a joke, obviously. Kate Bosworth.
Yeah, I know.
Which is by no means a disgrace. She's lovely.
Of course.
What is the Storm adding in this trailer?
I guess they
question.
can't leave or get backup would be my guess.
But like in a life and death situation, it's like, yeah, I'm gonna risk going outside. Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
If
totally.
someone's literally here with an army to like kill me and my loved ones, I'm like, yeah, I'll risk the rain and the wind.
Well, and also you don't really get the sense of why, like you see a dude outside get shot by the bad guys.
Yeah.
But outside of that, it's like, in theory, if these guys just wanted to get into the basement to steal $55 million, which again, why is it there? If they wanted to do that, in theory, they don't have to shoot a fucking soul. They can just walk down a flight of stairs, grab the money, and be like, all right, get the car on, turn the wipers on because a hurricane's outside, and then fuck off. There's really no reason for them to come in guns blazing.
Right?
Other than to give Mel Gibson a reason to shoot him.
It's supposed to be like Unhinged. Like, I can tell that I'm supposed to find some entertainment in this, but because of pop culture, there's a lot of reasons that I'm not a big Mel Gibson fan anymore. I'm not a big Emil Hirsch fan anymore. So those are gone. But also there's like the storm seems arbitrary. This building seems like you're just trying to be the Raid plus Dread plus Hurricane Heist, which is a blast of a movie. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen it. I will.
Hurricane Heist is ridiculous and fun, but
so the only thing
doesn't look fun to me.
Sure. The only thing that kind of perked me up was at one point, and it's really quick. It's sandwiched in between all of like the shooting and stuff. There was a shot where like a dude gets pretty dramatically pulled off camera really fast, and someone goes, "What was that?" And then they completely ignore it the rest of the trailer. And I was like, does Mel Gibson team up with alligators? Because if he does, I would want to see that movie.
Why are you not marketing that aspect of the movie?
That is the only way I will, with clear conscience, go and see a Mel Gibson movie right now. People will be like, but he said terrible things. And I'm like, I'm only human. It's Mel Gibson with guns and alligators with guns, and they're shooting bad guys. Like,
hey, man,
I'm there.
I don't have to like him as a person, but he is, quote unquote, a force of nature. And I would
yeah.
No, I have found nothing of value in this trailer.
It is. It's so clearly like an early 2000s throwback to bad action movies. Like, there's a random shot of boobs in the trailer, and it's like, but again, it's sandwiched in between like the gun violence, so it's like, what you doing here, boobs? It just doesn't coalesce into anything remotely interesting. Because you're right, I could just watch Dread. I could just watch The Raid. Fucking God help me, I could watch Hurricane Heist. Like, dude, there's so many other things.
It's fun.
Okay, I'll take your word for it. So yeah, the only other note I have is just me making. Oh, I should have applied this retroactively. I made a note to myself saying, in retrospect, maybe the old guard was fine? ? Never need to see.
Never need to see. Stop.
4
minutes and 54 seconds. So we're adding 6 seconds.
Okay.
Not too shabby.
It's fucking wild that we were able to talk about that for 5 minutes.
I know.
That would have been 30 seconds.
I wrote like one sentence for this one, so I was like, "Oh, we'll be adding a lot." And like, "Oh, okay."
I guess But I guess that's sort of the appeal of those kinds of movies, because, like, if you watch, like, a bad movie alone, it's such a chore. But if you watch it with a group of people, suddenly it's like, we have to fucking punctuate this. We have to process this together.
Having said that, I would say if you're gonna weather Hurricane Heist, watch it with a group of people with plenty of alcohol.
That's fair. That is absolutely fair. But yeah, otherwise, like, these bad action movies, man, they're just a relic of the past. But speaking of relics, I felt like that was better, right? Like, that was I'm at least improving on the pun scale, right? Oh, that's clapping. Or that's you just doing Foley work, and you're doing that with your mouth. Either way, thank you. I appreciate that.
That was Trailer Hitch's first slow clap, Kevin.
Okay, great.
Relic in 3, 2, 1, go.
Relic. All right, James, hit me with it. What's this about?
Okay, so Kevin, in the first 4 seconds, we get this amazing phrase that in words that comes up on screen, and it's like, this film will flip haunted houses on their head. Mm-hmm. And I went, great. And then I would turn the trailer off, and I said to Kevin, okay, so double need to see. It's for everyone. We don't even need to watch the trailer. It just told me it flips the haunted house trope on its head. What more do we need to know? So intellectual bullying at its best.
Fuck. Yeah, as fuck.
And so fuck you for putting that in, like, the first thing you see is that. Yes. I'm like, come on, man.
Yes.
So that was irritating.
Yeah. My premise was, when a woman tries to take care of her aging grandma, creepy shit starts to happen. What exactly happens? I have no idea, but the title cards insist the end is gonna rule. So let's get into that right away. I can empathize. If the most interesting thing to you from a marketing standpoint for this movie is the ending, I do appreciate the fact that you're not showing me the ending. Don't get me wrong. I am happy about that. But that said, throwing 5 different title cards up telling me the end is going to rule, this thing that you can't watch right now is going to rule, is not an effective way to get me into the fucking theater, buddy. Like, it's just not. Just, like, show me, like, some of the setup. Because, like, in theory, if the end is as good as it is, there had to be things in the setup that made the ending rule. So just, like, you know, give me some of that stuff. I do like the desaturated and shadowy cinematography, because it doesn't lose sight of its subjects. And I do think that there was some really creepy and evocative imagery. You have that lady, like, stomping her hands down the fucking hallway. Like, cool, sure, fine. All right, but what's this about, though? Oh, okay, cool. Vulture.com liked it. I guess that's nice. So yeah, for me, I'm just going to come out and say, quote, I would love another trailer because I'm a fan of horror, but too many critic quotes kills the mood, so never need to see. Kevin Heyer, Trailer Hitch.
There's that age-old saying in film where you should show, don't tell.
Correct.
Right? I never thought I would have to say this.
To a trailer?
But that goes for trailers also. like show, don't make me read.
Basically.
Is the new saying for trailers. And no, everything you said is completely apt. There was a couple imagery things that I thought were valid and that hinted at a interesting movie, but this trailer was just plagued.
Yeah, this
kind of shit.
Yeah, this trailer is basically just looking at the Rotten Tomatoes page for the movie. Like, that's all this was. It's just like, I'm getting little, like, critic blurbs, and I can just go to Rotten Tomatoes on my own time, man. Like, fucking show me shit.
You're basically telling me if all I should care about are reviews, then I will wait to get legitimately a lot of reviews to see this movie. I will wait until it comes out. I will wait 2 weeks and see what people think of this. If that's what you're telling me I should follow reviews, not your own marketing. Okay, fine. I'll wait. And like, no, you don't want people to wait. You want to sell them on tickets opening weekend. And this ain't doing it, buddy. This is a never need to see it.
Yeah.
And stop. 4 minutes and 23 seconds.
Ooh, okay. You got 37 seconds there. Right? That's math. Our math skills are wanting, much like a mayor, you could say. You know what? We have a kindred spirit, because this next trailer is The Wanting Mayor. That was a C. I'm giving that one a C.
Okay, Kevin, the Wanting Mare. In 3, 2, 1, go.
The Wanting Mare. It's an atmospheric trailer about, yeah, sure, I'll give it a go. A woman saved as a child by the kindness of strangers is on a quasi-post-apocalyptic island that prides itself in cruelty. Her goal is to get on a boat and leave. Also, there's a horse, but it doesn't seem too demanding. James, what did you think?
Okay, so this is rhetorical thought for a rhetorical trailer. which is it just the quarantine, or is my patience for these kinds of trailers just completely spent? Whatever the answer is, this was nothing to me.
Sure.
The Wanting Mare was found wanting.
Oh,
in my humble opinion.
You're going there.
A lot like the Transcendence. It just feels like it's like, we're artsy. We're selling you on that alone. And I'm like, cool. Like, that's fine. I do like trailers like that sometimes. But you forgot to, like, explain to me what this is about. And I just...
Yeah.
Now, to be fair, Transcendence, I watched twice. Or The Transcendence, I watched twice. And I still couldn't get it. This one, like I said, my patience is waning, so I only watched it once. Maybe a second time would have shown me what this movie is about. But right now, Kevin, would you mind explaining to me what this is about?
Sure. Yeah,
like,
I mean,
I'm so bored with this.
As someone who has watched it twice, I my takeaway, honestly, dude, is it's an atmospheric trailer where I'm not supposed to have a concrete idea from a story perspective what I'm getting at, which is fine. It's fine. Now, unlike the Transcendence, I did like the style a little bit more here. I did like the way that this was lit and how it was shot. I think it does make the dreamy stuff pretty dreaming, and it makes, like, you know, those moments where stuff is harrowing, where, like, there's a dude with a mask with, like, holding a shotgun and shit, pressuring another dude who's beat up against the wall to do something. I think it really did make that stuff really evocative. The way I'm taking it is it's a mix between Terrence Malick and George Miller. Now, what I will say about stuff like this, because I get a lot of hope and forgiveness from a thematic standpoint with this, and this is a style of film, man. It's like, let's look at the human condition, but we're going to put them in really extreme circumstances or flat out unreal or fake circumstances that I, as the filmmaker, made up. And I don't know, man, like making sweeping statements about mankind, and that includes you. I just think it needs to be a bit more grounded. But that said, a lot of movies in this style tend to be really cynical, where it's like, as you see, humanity is bad because of this scenario that'll never happen that I made up in my head. This, it does seem to be like, hey, things can be really rough out there, but, like, there are people who will go out of their way to help you, even when it doesn't benefit them in some ways. If a movie is going to do this, the fact that it's, like, doing so in a hopeful way does kind of give me, like, some sort of up to it. But that said, I mean, I'm gonna be frank, dude. I have no idea what the fuck the horse wants. So I'm at a need to see more here.
So this is a never need to see it for me. And stop. 4 minutes and 52 seconds.
Ooh, okay.
We can add 8 seconds to that bad boy.
All right. Maybe that's what the mayor was wanting. 8 more seconds.
In which case, mission accomplished.
Yeah. I don't even feel like doing a pun for Tenet. Can we just talk about Tenet?
Tenet in 1, 2, 3. Do you see what I'm doing?
Oh my God, you're going backwards. That's so clever.
Well, it's not a time thing. I'm catching the countdown instead of releasing the countdown. Whatever. Go.
Okay. Tenet. As I understand it, they're trying to prevent World War III. That's a direct quote, by the way, so shit, even the characters don't really know what's happening right now. These people go to places after a bad guy does bad stuff and effectively reverse it. So the concept isn't displayed as neatly as the Inception trailer did way back when in 2010. But
which we dissected last time. We were like, Inception was probably this confusing, wasn't it? And we looked back and we're like, no, Inception was actually pretty clear.
They basically laid all of its cards on the table, and we appreciated it for it. I do think that this is giving me the concept a bit cleaner than the first trailer. The first trailer was like to a degree, it was like, look at how much money we spent on this. And I'm like, well, neat, but like, I don't know why I'm looking at this yet. This new trailer, I feel like gives me a little bit more context. and kind of provides some background information on like the admittedly very nice and evocative imagery and the actors who I really respect and love to see on screen. But at the same time, it is a high concept that spends more time showing its concept more than like characters. And I think that there is still a lot of mystery here. What else is going on here? And I mean, like, now that I have like a rough idea of the concept, like, are we going to get one more where I'm like, I know a little bit more about John David Washington? Because, like, really the stuff that sticks out to me in Inception is, like, Leonardo DiCaprio and Marion Cotillard getting their heads swooshed by a train. Because that provided a framework for why DiCaprio was doing the shit he was doing. And so it's like, I'm kind of waiting to get, like, and this is why specifically John David Washington is a part of the reverse time cops. But yeah, how about you, man? How are you feeling?
When I saw this trailer was released, I was like super pumped because we talked about that first teaser. There was a lot of intrigue and interest, but a lot unsaid. And I was very interested to see what a second trailer in this movie would entail, especially knowing how well Inception laid its cards on the table.
Sure.
And instead of the plot being the mystery like Inception, the concept is still the mystery in this trailer.
Yeah.
And I thought I would find that really frustrating, but instead I am just so intrigued.
Cool.
I'm kind of obsessed. Not only that, today, like a 30-second TV spot came out for this. We're not really going to dissect that, but I don't normally watch TV spots, especially for like blockbusters. And I'm like, I have to know everything that comes out about Tenet that gets released. I have to know it. And I watched the TV spot and it still gave me nothing. I got nothing to go on. I'm so confused, but I'm so there. I don't know why. I'm just so, it could be the cast. The casting looks incredible. The action looks incredible. It's Christopher Nolan, so going off of name recognition, that is also something that sells a movie, and I buy into it. I'm a big Christopher Nolan fan, so all these things are lining up.
Yeah.
The only things that aren't there are the plot of the movie and basically the basic concept of not being confused
Of storytelling. Sure.
But I'm loving this. I'm loving every single confusing thing I see.
Yeah,
from this movie.
the spectacle is really, really engaging. Like, I'm not taking that away from it. Unlike some of the other trailers we've talked about, I was never bored watching this trailer in like the 2 or 3 times that I watched it. And that's not nothing. It does look very good. Really, the only joke I have, I've noticed something with Christopher Nolan movies where every character is like immaculately dressed all the time. And there's a shot with John David Washington, Robert Pattinson, and Himesh Patel. And Himesh Patel is the only one that's not in like a fucking 6-figure suit. And
Time, but keep going.
Ah, shit. Sorry, man. He's the only one not in a 6-figure suit, but he's still in like a button-up shirt, a jacket, and slacks. And I was looking at it and I blinked and I was like, oh my God, Christopher Nolan is so rich and disconnected from reality. That's what he thinks casual wear is. And I couldn't stop thinking about it. Anyway, yes, I'm at a need to see more, but like, of course, I'm going to go see this. Ideally in a theater, but at the same time, just looking at the trailer as its own thing, this is a need to see more.
And that's totally fair. Honestly, this is one of the few things where I'm confused as hell, but it's a need to see it for me.
Okay.
Probably Christopher Nolan is probably the only person who could pull something like that off. I do have to say one more thing before the timer stops.
Okay.
Fucking Robert Pattinson's button at the end with the giant plane
With
dramatic. Oh, I totally disagree.
Really?
Oh my God. I thought it was so charming and just like a nice way to end the trailer.
I don't know. I feel like in most circumstances, like, you have to dream bigger, darling. Stuff like that I really like. But when you're like, let's crash a plane, I'm like, I'm from a generation where that has a completely different connotation.
That's fair, but I'm more talking about Robert Pattinson's delivery.
Oh yeah, totally. He's a great actor. Stop. Can we stop the timer?
Stop. All right. 6:30.
Well, that brings us down to 98 seconds for Antebellum.
Now that we're off the clock, though, I just wanted to say it wasn't the actual act of a plane crashing that I thought
Of
was the
course,
good
of
button.
course.
It was Robert Pattinson's delivery of it, and it's like, I think, like you said, it's a good comparison to compare it to Tom Hardy's Inception line of "Don't be afraid to dream a bit bigger, darling." That's a fair comparison. I actually didn't think about that. And in that Inception trailer is probably, they did that version better, but I thought this was a version of that, and I enjoyed that. So
That's cool.
there you go.
Yeah, totally, dude.
Yeah.
We're almost at our destination, which is good because I keep bouncing against your luggage in the back in this trunk, James, and I'm really excited to stretch my legs. So when you're ready for Antebellum, I am.
Well, hold on one second. Okay, so I'm just out of curiosity. How much time would we have had if we talked about Tenet in 5 minutes flat for Antebellum?
Oh, we would have had like 3 minutes.
Wow. And now we have
98
what,
seconds.
A minute?
Yeah, minute and a half. Yep.
Okay, well, let me set my my timer for 1 minute and 30 seconds.
38.
And
38 seconds. God, we need the 8 seconds.
Okay. Yep. We will definitely need those 8 seconds. Okay, and I'm ready. I'm ready to do this.
All right.
I'm ready to go back in time to Antebellum South.
All right, let's do it, man.
All right, 3, 2, 1, go.
Antebellum. I'm still not really sure, but at this point, I've just accepted that it's a choice that I don't know the specifics of this. So, a black woman in the present is either sent back to slavery era or a place that still uses slaves, and she is, understandably so, over that shit. So I'll say starting this off to look like an ad for heart medication or some shit is actually a really interesting choice. That beneath the glamour and joy of life, there's this author truth that helped build that glamorous life. And this is definitely a bit more impressionistic, which if you aren't going to get into the specifics of the concept or the character, I would prefer it to be more impressionistic. But that said, weirdly, I think I would have liked this if this was the second trailer a lot. But this is like the fourth one, and I still have no idea who Janelle Monáe's character is in this movie. And at this point, I just want to know. So I'm going to need to see more. How about you, James?
That's fair. I think this is super stylized. It starts off like the Tree of Life. I'm like, talk about Terrence Malick.
Oh,
like the beginning of this trailer, super much like that. And then it changes on a dime to be like a Jordan Peele horror-esque film, which it is going for.
Yeah.
With some excellent hints at like call to action and the character's drive and hope trickled in near the end. So it has all the things that entice you in a trailer, but the one thing it's missing is a little bit more character stuff with the actress. That's all I have. This is a need to see more.
And stop!
Kevin, we did it. We did
How
it.
much time do we have left over?
We did 8 seconds.
Oh! We needed the 8 seconds!
We did. Oh my God, you're right.
Ah, this is awesome!
I can't believe I totally forgot about that. Yeah, it was the 8 seconds that did it. Yeah. So
holy shit. We actually did it, man. Oh, thank God. I was really scared we would have to watch the Transcendence.
We've actually never successfully done cross country before, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm starting to I feel pretty good about that. Whew.
No, so do I. And I, like I said, everything I wanted to say. I mean, look, don't get me wrong. If we had more time to talk about Antebellum, I would have used it up, because I do think it is a solid trailer. And I am quite ready to be pushed over the line to a need to see it for it. I just think we're not quite there yet.
Yeah, same. Yeah. Antebellum is one of those movies where it's like, I'm probably going to see it, but again, I'm just looking at the trailers as their own things. And sometimes there's movies that I'm like, I'm going to see the shit out of that. And I watch the trailer and I go, oh. And that's just kind of part of this, but you know, they're two separate entities, trailers and movies. So
that's right.
But what did you think of all of these trailers? What did you think of Antebellum? What did you think of Defy Bloods? What did you think of Tenet? Oh God, were you brave enough to watch the Transcendence? What did you think of that? You can let us know on our Facebook or our Twitter if Trump doesn't get rid of those, or our Instagram if Trump doesn't get rid of that. On Facebook, we're Trailer Hitch Podcast. You can find us there. Shoot us a message right on our wall. Do whatever. You can hit us up on Twitter at Trailer Hitch Pod. Or you can hit us up on Instagram at Trailer Hitch Podcast if you want to take a picture and let us know what you thought of Tenet. Otherwise, you can email us at trailerhitchmailbox@gmail.com, or you can hit us up on YouTube. If you search Trailer Hitch Podcast on there, you can comment. And sometimes we read those off on the show or our other missives that we get through social media, with your permission, of course. And while you're at YouTube, you can subscribe. And hey, speaking of subscribing to stuff, you can do that on Stitcher. You can find our entire back catalog there, or you can also find us on Apple Podcasts. And while you're there, please rate and review and do all of the things to share, because we would like to find more people that want to talk about Tenet and Unhinged. It's definitely Unhinged. We need to talk to more people about Unhinged. Before we go, we'd like to thank Danny Schmitz from Lost in a Name for the amazing intro song that you hear at the top of every episode. We would like to thank Rachel Ashley for the amazing cover art that you see on our various social medias. You can find her work at Mighty Creations on Instagram. We would like to thank Jenny Hawks, our bad movie and social media correspondent, for her sterling work week in and week out. And we would like to thank Casey Clowers for the amazing outro song, which you will hear momentarily.
You can't mount holy sails without a sailor stitch, and you can't haul your stuff without a trailer hitch. Trailer hitch.
I have a good intro. Well, look, you can be the judge if it's good, but I have something.
Okay.
I have something
Sure.
to say. That should go without saying. Anytime I say, "Oh, this is going to be good, Kevin," or "Oh, I got something funny," it goes without saying. It might not be funny. It might not be good. You can cut it out if you want to.
Oh, it's okay, man. Well, it's one of those things where, like, I don't know about you, but, like, over the course of quarantine, I feel like you gotta blow my fucking socks off to get a laugh. Like, I maybe laugh 4 times a day. Some of the content I watch is very funny. But at the same time, it's more so I'm just kind of intellectually like, that's a good joke. And then there's no fucking reaction out of me. So if I don't laugh, that doesn't mean you're bombing. I might be smiling and nodding and going, very good. But I'm not personifying it.
What I have is not going to be layered, Kevin. It's not going to be a thinker. It's going to be
that's okay. That's okay.
Very surface level.
All right, sir. At your leisure.
Okay, cool.